Hey, it's Chris. I've got some encouraging stuff to share with you today. I just did an interview with Joe in Florida, and Joe has a phone sales background. He was in the commodities market. That's a very tough field. And then he joined this little niche of doing Medicare supplement sales over the phone. He's using a predictive dialer with unlimited data and unlimited calling. So basically, after the about $100 a month investment, his lead cost is free. And he's turned that into quite a little empire in just the last few months as he's just gotten started. So I asked Joe, over the last couple of interviews, to share some thoughts on what he thinks is most important in this niche, doing your own lead generation. And today, in this interview, Joe goes through exactly what he says on the phone and what he says to the top 10 or so objections that he hears almost every time, because he has heard them so often. I know this will be a great value to you, so here's Joe. Oh, by the way, in this video, his video cut out a lot of the time. It's all audible anyway, so you can even shut off the video completely and just listen to what he has to say, because as the video may come and go, it's all in the words that he's using. And remember, he's doing all this sight unseen, just phone call.
What I'm saying, because I'm Joe and everybody else is your own person. It's how you're saying it. It's the way it's the confident. It's all about confidence. It really is. And sometimes I'll look at the screen and you'll see the person's name. Let's say it's John, and I'll literally stare at the screen and go, John, 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 John. And then when they answer the phone, I go, John. It's just like, it's kind of like I play game. It's all psychological. You have to have the confidence. You have to absolutely assume that they want help. They're overpaying everybody. So it's more the inflection of your voice and how you carry your voice on the phone, because they believe me, it comes if you have a negative attitude and you think, oh, I'm bothering this guy, it's going to come across and they're not even going to want to talk to you. So it's really, they get 10 calls a day. You got to stand out from the 9 other calls they're getting that day from people on the phone. So I want to stress that the most.
Absolutely.
All right, so ring, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, who's this?
Hey, Chris, this is Joe. How you doing today?
What's this about?
Yeah, just wanted to give you a quick call today regarding the rates on Medicare supplement plans in Florida. You do have a Medicare supplement plan, correct?
Yeah, and we're all happy with the plan we have.
You should be. They're great plans, and that's why I was calling you today. If you do have a Medicare supplement plan, odds are extremely high. You could lower your rates significantly, but still keep the same exact plan and the same exact benefits you have right now. And it's very easy for me to determine whether or not that's the case with you. I just have to ask you a couple of brief questions about your plan, if that's okay.
I like my company already. They pay all the bills. Everything's fine with where we're at. Thanks a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I know you like the company. It's a great plan. All these companies are good companies. They wouldn't be approved by Medicare if they weren't. But I can pretty much assure you, you could lower your rate significantly without changing the plan or without changing the coverage. I want to stress that. And it only takes a couple of minutes. If I can just ask you a couple of brief questions about the plan, we'll see how much you can lower your rate by.
Who did you say you're with?
Well, that's the best part about it. I'm not with any one company. I'm not with an insurance company or any type of organization. This is something that I do year round. And I would say probably over 90%, maybe even higher, of people that are on Medicare, not only here in Florida, but nationwide, are overpaying for their Medicare coverage. In a lot of cases, they're grossly overpaying for their coverage. So this is something I do year round. I help people in Florida lower their rates while keeping everything else the same.
Where are you located?
Well, that's, I'm located, I'll give a different state here. I'm located in New Jersey.
New Jersey? What? I want a
Yeah.
local agent that I can sit across the table from.
You have a local agent now?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. Every single one of my clients had a local agent, and every single one of those local agents had their clients grossly overpaying for their coverage. Okay, so it really, the way it's set up now, I work a little bit differently than other agents. As opposed to coming to your house, I would come to your computer. You do have internet access, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll make an appointment together online. You'll see me, you'll hear me on the telephone, but you'll see me on your computer screen. And I'll give you a little bit on my background and my credentials. I'll show you how these plans work, how the rates work, how easy it is to lower your rate. And then if everything makes sense, we can go through the process right then and there, have this lower rate in place as early as March 1st. There's no paperwork involved. It's a lot easier than you think.
Well, my son is an attorney. I probably need to talk to him before doing this kind of thing.
Okay, what do you need to talk to him about?
Well, there's a lot of scams going on out there.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So, and listen, I'm sure your son, he's a good attorney. He's good at what he does. My biggest hurdle is credibility. Okay, I'm calling you out of the blue here. I'm on the phone. You have no idea who I am. I'm telling you I can lower your rate by this huge amount. Believe me, I get it. Okay, but there's no tricks or gimmicks here at all. If you just give me a little bit of faith, do yourself a favor, spend about 15 minutes with me on the computer. I guarantee you at the end of that 15 minutes, not only will you be an expert in how Medicare works, you won't hesitate to lower your rate. Because that's the thing. Most people are afraid to lower their rate because they don't understand Medicare. You know, you've been on Medicare for what, 5 years now?
Yep.
You're probably out there on your own. Even if you have an agent, all your agent did was enroll you, collect his commission, and moved on, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, and that's a problem. That's nationwide. It's not just you. It's most people on Medicare. They're completely on their own. They have nobody there to educate them on how these plans work. Did you know there's about 25 companies that offer these plans in your state, and every single company offers the same exact plan?
No, I didn't know that.
And your doctor takes every single one of them, and every single one of them has to pay. The only difference from company to company is the rate. That's the only part that's not standardized by the government. These companies charge whatever they want to charge for these plans, and the prices are all over the board. It's pretty amazing. And I know just for the fact that you're with AARP, you could lower your rate, I would say, at a minimum by 20%. Without
I'm with AARP. I mean, we're getting a discount because we're part of a big group, right?
A discount?
Right? I mean, it's AARP. Don't we get a group discount?
I don't know about that. Let me ask you this: if you go to a pizza place and they charge $20 for a pizza, but it's on sale for $12, is that really a discount, or are they just marking down a very overpriced pizza?
Yeah, maybe.
Right, and that's all you're doing with AARP. I'll be willing to bet 30 to 40% of that money you send them every month goes right into their pockets, doesn't even go to United Healthcare. So if you want to pay for the AARP name, you go right ahead. I would say 80% of my client base comes from AARP. So what's that tell you?
All right, so what do we need to do?
Well, what we need to do is we can make the appointment. Are you in front of your computer right now?
Yeah, I'm sitting right here.
Okay. We can jump on the computer together, and what I'm going to do, I could either email you or direct you to a website, whatever's more convenient for you, and it's going to bring you into my computer screen. You'll see my big shiny head there. I'll explain everything how it works, and if everything makes sense, we'll have this lower rate in place as early as March 1st.
Do you have time to do the computer thing real quick?
Sure. Do like the screen share, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. It's basically your presentation. Or do you want to hit me with more objections first, or? I don't know how I did there. I was kind of
nervous. I pretty much run out of them.
Did you?
So at that point, let's just walk through it really quick. So then you're going to get them on Join Me, either by taking them to the website where you give them the number, or you send them the copy and paste address by email. And then when you're on there, you're going to show them through the PowerPoint, the credibility presentation to lower that objection. It's gone. And then you'd go right to the quotes. And then what's your transition from, their sudden, whoa, that's the same thing, to go into the application?
Well, that call, obviously it was a mock call. Typically on that call, I kind of, because when you engage somebody with the conversation, when they're interested, they're asking questions. So it's almost, when I do the appointment, it's almost a repeat of the initial call, because I kind of explained it all there, how these plans are the same. That's how you get them. You have to explain, it makes sense to them. Oh, okay, well that makes sense. So, the call itself, the initial call itself, is almost always a struggle. I just want people to know that. Whether they're interested or not, they still don't know who the hell you are. They're scared. And sometimes they'll ask for something in writing. I'll send it sometimes. I'll try and deflect the card or something in writing, and I'll promote the online presentation. And I'll tell them, look, like I said it there, look, I know you have no idea who I am. I'm calling you out of the blue. I'm telling you I can lower your rate by a huge amount of money. Believe me, I get it. I don't like doing business over the phone either. But this is, this is something I think that really demands your attention. So and I always say, I don't say do me a favor. I always say do yourself a favor. Spend about 15 minutes with me on the computer. And I guarantee you, at the end of that 15 minutes, not only will you understand Medicare, you'll be 100% comfortable with who I am and allowing me to be your agent. And once you understand Medicare, lowering the rate is an absolute no-brainer. And then what I do either on that call or on the presentation, I stress to them how the billing works. How when you go to your doctor doesn't even deal with AARP or United Healthcare. Your doctor deals with. I said most of them contract out their billing, but whoever's doing the billing is dealing directly with Medicare. And then once Medicare approves it, then your supplemental company gets a bill and they have to pay it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no human being behind the scenes approving this or denying that. It's all automatic. Nothing will change at all. And I use your line from your training. Only two things in your life will change: the logo on your card and how much you're spending every month. Outside of that, life will remain the same. And then when I do, and I don't really get into Plan G on the initial call. If they're on F, I just show them how they can lower the rate. But I'll plant a little seed. You might even be on the wrong plan, but we'll go over that when we're on the computer together. And then I do the slide presentation like you have set up, picture of the family, a little bit on my background. And then I show them the Medicare and You guidebook. I show them the page where it says they're standardized. Everything's the same except the premiums. And then I go down to the chart where I show them all the plans. And I show them how Plan F has everything. And I said, look right next to it, Plan G. And I show them how there's one empty box. And I said, go over to your left. What's that empty box? And I make them say it. It's a Part B deductible. I said, everybody on Medicare has a Part B deductible, write this down, of $147 a year. You have it right now. You just don't see it. Right now, AARP is paying it for you. You probably recall getting notices in the mail saying your Part B deductible for the year has been met. Yeah, I do. That's what that is. All right, so you are paying it. And if you see, that's the only difference between F and G. Who pays that deductible? On Plan F, the insurance company pays it. On Plan G, you pay it. And I said, now, if you want to stay on Plan F, that's fine. It's a good plan. But I don't feel I'd be doing my job as an agent without at least presenting Plan G to you as well. And I'm going to go over, I think everybody says Plan F is the best. I very strongly believe Plan G is the best plan. So I wanted to present both of them to you. And then in a moment here, we're going to get into the pricing and the numbers, and we'll get into it a little bit more, and I'll explain why I think it's a better plan. And then, from there, sometimes I'll just for legitimacy, I'll jump on to whatever state I'm talking to. I'll go on to the State Department website. I'll go on to Google. I'll search for the Department of Insurance. I'll look up my license. And I'll joke. I'll say, look, I just want to make sure, I'm not some guy working out of a van or something here. I want to show you my license. And they laugh. You got to, So then I show them the license, and then I go on to the quote engine. And I put in their information. I explain how it's age, zip code, sex, marital status. Put it in. It spits out all the prices. I show them the best Plan F rate. Make sure they qualify for that rate. And then we go to Plan G, and if it's a $20 difference, I'll say, now, this is why I think Plan G is better. I said it's $20 less a month. So 20 times, I'll have a calculator on the screen. 20 times 12 is $240. So if you want to stay on Plan F and lower your rate, that's fine, but you're essentially paying an extra $240 a year for the insurance company to pay the $147 deductible for you. But that's not the reason why I think Plan G is better. That's one of the reasons, but the main reason are the rate increases. Okay, because every one of these companies raises the rates as life goes on. When companies raise their rates, what we've seen so far, they tend to raise the Plan F rates higher percentage-wise than they do Plan G. So it's not only do you get a lower rate on Plan G, when the rate increases occur, you should get a lower rate increase percentage-wise as opposed to Plan F. And almost always it makes sense to them. And every now and again they'll say, you know what, Joe, that's fine, but I don't want to pay the deductible. I just want to stay on F. I don't fight it. That's fine. And I'll say as long as you understand when the rate increases occur, it's going to be a little bit higher on F, but that's something I'll monitor for you, and I'll explain how we check in every year. And usually I think that alone, you just dumb it down and explain it exactly as it is. At the end of that, after I show them the prices, show them the health questions, make sure they can answer no to everything, they're the ones that say to me, what do we do next? And then boom, I just open up the application, grab your Medicare card, grab your checkbook, and let's go in. And I even use your line with you're going to need your banking information for the direct deposit. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean the what do you call it? The bank draft. No, even the bank draft. Yeah, the bank draft. That's right. I wish it was direct deposit. Ha ha ha. And then
that's
it. I would say 98% of my presentations goes right to the application. And those couple percentage that don't, they're the slimy ones that take my info and go to some other agent.
Right. Well, I love how you said, oh, by the way, you might even be on the wrong plan. That's one of those like TV setup open loop things that like, wait, I might be on the wrong plan. Oh, no, I got to stick around to find out about that.
Right, right, and it's a great way too if they have an agent to keep driving that wedge between them, because I'll a lot of times I'll say agents are lazy, and Plan F is a very easy plan to sell, and Mutual of Omaha is a very easy name to sell, and I don't know your agent from Adam, but it's we all live on commissions, and the higher the rate, the higher the commission. I'm not saying that's what your agent did, but that's one of the reasons I feel why people are paying such high rates for these plans, because agents, it's a huge conflict of interest. I'll throw it right out there.
Higher the rate, the higher the commission, and
Yeah,
it just
I
sows
said that
the seed
agent's
in their
putting
mind.
very, very expensive gas in his car, driving a half hour out to your house, sitting at your table for an hour, hour and a half, driving a half hour back to his office. We're only human. Don't think for a second that he's not working his calculator before he walks into your house, figuring out how much he's going to make in commissions for this trip out to your house. With me, you're probably sitting there in your pajamas. I'm sitting here in my office, and once I hang up with you, I'm on to my next appointment. I don't mind. I might be doing the same thing if I was driving around spending all this money and going house to house. I might do my business differently, but I don't. I think educate my clients on how the plans work, give them the absolute lowest rate possible, and moving forward, I'll monitor the coverage, making sure you always have the lowest rates possible in your county.
So,
But I don't want to make it sound like it's easy. I struggle every day.
yeah.
Last week I had a great week. I submitted 7 applications. This week I did 1. And that one was a woman who basically told me to go pound sand back in August, and she has kidney issues, but her husband was healthy. And I was calling and calling and calling. You got to keep calling them back.
Yeah.
And she finally told me, don't ever call me again. So I gave her a break for like 3 months, 4 months, and I called her again, and she must have been in a good mood. We started talking, and turned out her husband never enrolled in Part D until recently, and he got hit with I think it was $45 a month penalty. He's 79 years old. Just so happens, guess how much I could lower his rate by? $45.
That's
40. So I said, look, I can lower his rate right now by $45. That covers the penalty. And she thought for a second. She's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And we hung up, and she called me Wednesday out of the blue, and she goes, let's do this application with her husband, and didn't even get on the computer. Did it right over the phone. So that's the only one I got this week, though. So it's a constant grind. It gets. It's tough. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's all up here. It really is. You have to psych yourself up for it every day. You got to welcome the rejection. You got to deal with it. And you got to know every time somebody's hanging up on you, that next call could be the one. That could be the laydown. I get some people, I meet them on Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm having an appointment with them. And on Friday, they're approved. But I get other people where I meet them on Wednesday. I'm calling them back 2 weeks later, and then I'm calling back another week. You got to stay on top of them, and you just keep calling and keep calling. You don't pester them, but you don't let up until they don't feel like you're bothering them. If you feel like you're bothering them, you might as well just not even call them. You're not going to do anything.
Can you hit your video button again?
Even though you probably are bothering them.
No.
Even though you probably are. Like I tell people, we're going to go spend 15 minutes together on the computer. It's an hour and a half. You don't want to overwhelm them, but at the same time, you don't want to let them go because you can help them. The biggest hurdle is the trust factor in who you are. So if you're talking confidently, you're talking matter-of-factly, I'll say to people, I'll guarantee you 100% you're overpaying for your coverage. Never once have I been wrong. I had one guy bet me, and he was with they had a pretty good rate, USAA. I beat him by 50 cents, and he was laughing. He's all right, you don't owe me money. But that was the only time I couldn't, that I said that, called somebody out, and couldn't beat his price. Almost always you'll be able to.
What do you do? What do you do to encourage yourself? What do you do to stay up enough to not get knocked down so bad that you just throw it down for the day?
Yeah, gosh. I think I'm so used to it. I do it almost like riding a bike. I know I just have to. You can't. It gets to me. The rejection doesn't so much get to me. It's still bothering me. It just happened last week. I spent an hour with a woman, did a presentation, sent her stuff in writing. I called her up a week later to follow up, and the agent was in her living room when I called.
Gosh.
I'm thinking, that messes me up. It really does. But the rejection part, you just gotta know it's part of the game. And if you're ever feeling down, sit down and really think about what you're doing here. You're sitting in front of a computer talking to people on the phone. You're not out there digging ditches. You're not out there sweating, breaking your back. You're not out there making 30 grand a year to make some other guy a millionaire. It could be so much worse. You got to put it into perspective. It could be so much worse. And as long as you keep going, you got to say, a good thing to do, you sit down and you see it's 10 o'clock and you say to yourself, oh, it's discipline too. You say to yourself, I am not getting up for at least an hour or whatever, or I'm not getting up till I get at least one lead. You might have to sit there all day, but you have to be disciplined to do it. You have to have goals. You got to say to yourself, today's going to be a great day. You can't say, oh, I'm bothering people. Oh, I got to call. This is going to be a great day today. I'm going to get 5 leads, even though you might only get 1. You got to go into the morning with that attitude. Throw some coffee on your face. Get it. Just go. Just go and be happy. Assume they want to talk to you. Assume they want you to lower their rate, even though half of them are going to hang up, or more than half of them are going to hang up on you. You just got to on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. There's 10,000 people turning 65 every day.
Every day.
Big deal if 20 of them in a day hang up on you. The next one is going to say yes. And if you keep going, you got to keep going. It's plain and simple. You can go from 9 to 5 and get nothing and give up, or you can say, I got nothing all day. I'm working till 7. And I'm either working till 7 or until I get another lead. And if you have to sit at your desk till 7, you sit at your desk till 7. Don't, who cares if your buddy, you want to go meet your buddies or your kids, even your kids. You got to, if you have kids, you have a wife, tell your wife to handle the kids. You got to work. It's that, you got to be that disciplined, that driven, and you got to be confident. I really believe that's the trick. It's really, I'm not smooth. I'm not smart, and you don't have to be. You be yourself, but you gotta have confidence. It totally comes across on the phone.
So many
Sometimes
times when
if I'm
agents
going back and forth with somebody, I'll stand up. I'll stand up like this and I'll start talking. Well, listen, if they're arguing with me and they're I'll battle right back with them. But you stand up and it comes across on the phone. It really does. It really does.
I've heard of many agents coming from a full-time 9-to-5 job and then going to work for themselves and thinking that they're only going to have to put in 9 to 5 in their business.
Right.
And it's the furthest thing from that. When there's money to be made and it's time to harvest the crops is right now, and you'll never get that time back again. That's so true.
Never. And if you want to work for yourself and make that above average living, you're not going to do it working 4 hours a day.
That's right.
You might as well go get a job at Publix or something. It's just that those kind of people just blow my mind. You really, it's there. It's there. You're going to go out and get, I think I said it to you. These people, when they answer the phone, they're paying somebody for their Medicare supplement plan. It might as well be you.
Right.
All right. Because, and that's, you have to have that attitude too. This is my money. I'm talking to somebody that has my money and I want that money. And it's not like, we're not, selling, penny stocks or ripping people out. We're really helping people too. That's another thing you have to remember. You're not bothering these people. You're helping them. They need you. Even though they might not, you call and at first they're like, you go, hey, John, you're all excited. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Hey, it's Joe Rush and I'm calling you a Medicare supplement. Oh, you hear the sigh in his voice. You do have a Medicare supplement plan, right? Yeah. And you got to ignore that and say, well, great. That's why, great. I'm glad I got a hold of you. And you just have to keep, even though you can tell they don't want to talk, you keep talking. Believe me, you'll open up. Because what you have to say about these plans, as long as you explain it right, it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
Once and it's, you'll get 5 guys in a row hang up on you, but that 6th guy just got a rate increase. You don't know this, but when he picks up the phone, he just got a rate increase, another rate increase from Mutual of Omaha. He has the money. Guy makes $150,000 a year and he's retired, but he's sick of paying $250 a month when he never goes to the doctor.
Right.
So you got to know those are the people you're going to talk to, and the others are just going to hang up on you and don't worry about it. And it's just, you got to keep going, and if you spend the time, you'll find those people each and every day. Each and every day. And they've always said in sales, your customers are a lot like you. And I think that's it too. But it's numbers. You got to talk to enough people to find those people.
Yeah.
And forget the rejection. Eat that rejection for breakfast. Know you're going to get it. Accept it. But know for when I did commodities, for every 100 people you talk to, maybe 1 would listen. Mm-hmm. So I come from a background of rejection. So you gotta embrace it, because the rejection here is so much less than anything else I've ever experienced in sales. You can't get down about it. You can't think you're bothering people. Know you're helping people. Know that we're on a mission here, and the mission is good. It's a win-win for everybody. The client saves a ton of money. You get a new client. The insurance company gets a new client. Everybody wins except for whoever, AARP or whoever they're with. It's all It's all a frame. It's your frame of mind. It's your frame of mind. It's your confidence, and that's all I can say. I can't say it enough. I really
Joe,
can't.
I appreciate your time again here on this Friday. I know you've got a full day ahead of you, and thanks so much for taking the time. It really does encourage the guys that are just getting started in the trenches to know what is just down the road, what the steps are going to be to get to where they want to be.
It's tough in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's tough in the beginning, but I was dead broke. I got 3 kids. Dead freaking broke when I started this. I was for 4 years, just so people know, 4 or 5 years, I struggled. Really, my career ended abruptly back in 2010. It's a long story. And I struggled for a long time. And I told my wife when I started this, if this doesn't work, I don't know, we're done. You know, I was out of money. It was bad, but I knew you can't poke a hole in this product. You can't. You know, so I was confident with that. My biggest fear was the leads, and obviously they work, and it can be done. It can be done. It wasn't easy. It still isn't easy. I'm still nowhere close to where I want to be, but I know it's there now.
Would you say it does get easier as you started from day one until now? What you've learned along the way?
Absolutely. The first people I ever got on, a couple, married couple, I went through the questions with them. I applied to Manhattan Life, and at the end they have the 800 number pop up. I had no idea what I was doing. And we call the 800 number. The wife does the interview first. They approve her. I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. The husband does the interview. I didn't know a combination of diabetes and blood pressure could be an issue. They declined them right then and there. So then the wife didn't want, and this is my first deal. I'm working my ass off. You know, I'm waiting forever to get approved by everybody, and I'm going broke. And you know, so it was just like, oh, it was a crusher. So now the wife doesn't want to leave. And then it was I was moving them from Mutual of Omaha Plan F to Manhattan Life Plan G. I find out there's another company. I don't know who it was, and I call them back. They already switched to Omaha Plan G and got a better rate. So that's how I started out. But my very first client told me, Joe, and every one of them told me I never do business on the phone. She goes, Joe, I'm always afraid I'm going to get scammed, but I knew you weren't scamming me. I said, how's that? She goes, you were making so many mistakes and fumbling around so much. There was no way you were scamming me. You weren't smooth at all. And but you're being real. You know what I mean? It's not. That's why I stress it there. Be yourself, but you got to be you got to be a confident self. You know, but if you fumble around and make mistakes, you know, it's okay. You can joke with them and stuff, and
that's a really good
anybody
point.
Can do it. Anybody.
That's a really good point. All the internet marketers say you got to be authentic when you're, you know, you got to put your real personality into it, and don't be all scripted and polished. And,
talk to them like it's your mother.
You
know, or your grandparents. You know, imagine you had your mother in your kitchen and you knew she was paying 40% more than what she needed to for her insurance. It's you know, that's how you talk to them, and it really comes across.
That's
awesome. You know, people, every one of my clients, I'd say almost every one of them, after they get approved, they all say the same thing. I never do business on the phone. So why they do it with me? Because it made sense. They already, you know, everything made sense, and I was coming across as a real human being, not a call center. You know, type of the telemarketing calls they're used to getting.
You've heard those calls from the call centers where you can hear in the background there's 400 other people on the
and they're going, the mute's going off and on and everything.
That's bad. Hey, on just off topic a little bit, when you're using the predictive dialer, some people have asked this question going into the predictive dialer. They're thinking about the Filipino callers that have called them in the past, and you say hello. Hello, anybody there? And then suddenly audio comes on, and you suddenly have somebody on the other end of the phone. Do you have those troubles with this predictive dialer?
You're talking sales dialers?
Yeah, with the delay.
Like a delay? No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
You know what? I shouldn't say every now and again that's happened. Every now and again, I'll say hello while they're hanging up, but it's very, very rare.
Gotcha.
And I've used other dialers. To me, this is the best dialer I've ever used. I'm very happy with it.
Very cool.
So,
Joe, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.